Hi, this is Mashnu, and it's day 7 of the middle game training. So we are completing the first week now, and the position that I have here is something different. It's a different theme than the previous videos. This time it's not about how to exploit a weak square or weak pawn, although these ideas in almost in every position arise, of course, but this time it's more about a space advantage. As you see in this position, white has a space advantage on one wing, the king side, and black is having more space on the queen side. But well, first of all, before I continue my explanation, I want to give you, of course, a chance to think for yourself and see if you can find a plan for white. It's white to move in this position. So I'll continue my explanation in a few seconds. You can pause the video now. Alright, so I hope that you noticed that the space advantage of black on this side, it's not a danger. Black doesn't control the a5 square, so he cannot advance this pawn to a5 and a4. Besides that, the king of black is here on c7, so any advance of these pawns and trading of pawns would open files for white to attack the king. On the other side of the board, we see that this advantage of space by white is controlling more or less the king side. White controls all these four squares, and because of these two pawns standing one beside the other, it's very difficult for black to open files here. Let's say that black would try to play f6 to open some lines here, then we simply answer g6 and we keep this g file and f file closed. So then the king on f3 stays safe. That means that for white we don't need to look for any play on the king side. This simply has to stay just like that. We don't want to advance these pawns right now because we don't want to open files that can be used as an attack of black. Now in the center this is fixed, so there is not much to search for there. So the only possible part of the board that we can use is the queen side, and that's exactly what in this game the white player, former world champion Anatoly Karpov, did. This game, by the way, was played in 1972. He played against Gligoric. Gligoric rated 25-75 at that moment, one of the strongest grandmasters in the 70s, and Anatoly Karpov was rated 26-30 at that time. Well, that means that we have to look for play on the queen side. How can we find some play on the queen side? Right now it looks a bit closed here. There are no open files, and using diagonals to penetrate into black's position is very difficult. So what white did here is he played the move a3, trying to trade some pawns there to open files, open diagonals, to be able to start an attack against the black king. Black took on a3, and white played rook from h2 to a2. Black tries to look for counterplay on the king side by playing rook to h4. So black wants to double up the rooks on the h file, but we must be aware that this bishop here is very important because it guards the square h3. So even after rook g to h8 there is no danger of any check here, and all the diagonals are closed towards the white king, so these two bishops cannot be used in the attack. If we look at our possibilities of attacking, we already have one open file here, another one will be opened here, and the c5 pawn is already a target. Attacked 3 times, defended 3 times, but may become vulnerable later. Rook takes a3 was played now. Black continued with this idea on the king side, rook g to h8, and white continues with rook from c1 to b1. So both rooks on the open files on the queen side, and black now realizes that there is nothing to achieve on the king side. There is no way to open the position of white here, no way to exploit that, and on the other side already b7 and b6 are becoming target points. Just imagine the maneuver rook e1, queen e1, queen a5 check, or knight to a5 threatening b7. Those are attacking possibilities for white. This is what happened in the game. Rook to b8. So black decided to try to defend there. Queen to e1, attacking the rook and threatening to enter on a5. Black here took the bishop on g4, and well, of course we must have a look at rook h to h8, because that would be the most normal defensive move. In that case there is a beautiful variation here with some nice tactics. Queen a5 checks, that's the start of the attack. King goes to c8, and now the beautiful move f6. Now I told you before that we don't need to open there any files because it can be dangerous, but this time it's different because we already have brought our heavy pieces into the attack on this side. So what we are doing with f6 is not attacking the queen or attacking this pawn. That's not the main thing. The main thing is that this knight on d7 is pinned now by the bishop on g4. So after g takes f6 here, we can take on c5 because the knight on d7 is pinned, so we have more attackers to c5 than black as defenders. So bishop takes, now the queen must move. Queen to d8. White doesn't want to trade queens, of course, so bishop b6 is a good move. Queen must go to e7 now, and now follows a very beautiful combination by white, starting with the move rook b1 to b5. And this is something that is so optically so beautiful because you simply place the rook on a square that is under control of one of the pawns. But taking this rook leads to c takes b5, and now the other rook will go to c3 with a dangerous check there, and this is now impossible to stop without losing a lot of material, of course. Now there is no other choice for black here than to take this rook, because the rook is threatening to give a check on c5, and the knight is pinned, so you cannot move this knight away or do anything with that, and all the other pieces are out of the range of the defense. So this is a beautiful variation that could happen if black plays rook to h8. Now what black did is he played rook takes g4, so we can say that by doing this he is preventing this pin over the diagonal here by playing f6. So white answers now king takes g4, and black goes on with bishop to c8. So he plays the bishop on the same diagonal as the king, and he also tries to control some squares on the b file now. Still, white plays the move that was shown in the previous variation, queen to a5 check. And here Gligorich thought for some time, made some calculations, and found out that it was impossible to save the game, so he resigned here. But let's have a look at what could have happened. Well, first of all, we are in check, so we need to, for example, move the king to b7. In that case, knight takes e5 is double check, and if the king goes to a7, there is a beautiful queen sacrifice giving checkmate. Queen takes a6. After bishop takes a6, rook takes a6 is checkmate. Another option would be here to play rook to b3, to b6, I'm sorry. Well, the knight takes e5. If bishop takes e5, rook takes b6. And if now bishop takes b6, we play bishop takes b6. And black is in serious trouble. The king could go to b8, but then we start advancing the pawns, and this becomes impossible to hold for black. The strength of this attack is simply too big. He will be losing material or being checkmated soon. So in this position, after queen a5 check, black resigned. Well, there is another last option, of course, to play the knight to b6, but in that case the knight was one of the defenders of the c5 pawn, so we can take on c5 here simply. And again, all the pieces are used in the attack of white. This is something that I already mentioned in the first video. When you attack, you have to use as many pieces as possible. Prepare by bringing all the pieces to the place on the board where the attack will start, and then only then start the attack. So well, after knight takes, what can we do here? We have let's see if black tries to find some shelter on the other side to bring away. Well, here of course only the knight already falls, so the king cannot go that way because b6 will fall. Is there any other option for black? The knight is pinned. Moving the bishop to b7. Now the knight takes b7, rook takes b7, and bishop takes b6. Check. Where can we go? If we go to d7, then queen a4 check. The king must go to c8 now, and queen c6. So this attack is very dangerous. King here, just as an exercise, how do we checkmate the black king here? Rook takes a6, rook takes a6, or bishop a7 check. Let's see, bishop a7, king takes a7, rook takes a6 check, king goes back to b8, and then perhaps let me move it. I don't see it completely. What if this, then we take rook takes a6, king goes to b8, perhaps this is the most simple way. Yeah, rook to b6. Yeah, this is ending really soon. Take, check, goes here, check, goes there, and rook a8 is checkmate. Yeah, well, perhaps this is not the most effective way of doing it, but as you can see, it's not difficult to find the attacking moves in these variations. Well, anyway, I'll stop here because we have seen enough, and I want to emphasize once more the move a3. The idea is to open files on the queen side, then to bring pieces towards the queen side so we can start an attack over there. So you see, white is first preparing the attack, placing pieces on the right squares to then later enter into black's position, and continue the attack. So I hope you found this interesting, and I'll see you next time on YouTube. Alright, goodbye.